Hello everyone. For our session today, we're going to take some time to have a think about how we're feeling. In our Understanding the World session, we were learning about the season of winter. In the winter, the way the air feels, the way it feels outside changes. It becomes a bit colder and darker. And sometimes the cold, the dark, the wind, the rain can make us feel different things inside too. And we've got a lovely story about an owl. Before we have our story, let's do a bit of breathing and we can just begin to feel calm and relaxed. Take some time to think how you feel today. And we're going to do our first big deep breath in. Try to keep your shoulders down and bring all the air right to your tummy. You should feel it like a big balloon in your tummy. Call it belly breathing. And then we breathe out through our mouth. And we take one big deep breath again. Feel your tummy like a big balloon, all the air inside, and then breathe out again. Well done, and one more time. I think we're ready to have a think about our feelings. I think we're ready for our story now. Let's have a look at the front cover. The owl who was afraid of the dark. Sometimes the dark can make us feel a little bit worried, afraid, scared. How does the dark make you feel? This little owl is a little bit afraid. Plop was a baby barn owl. He lived with his mummy and daddy at the top of a tall tree. Plop was the same as every baby barn owl that has ever been, except for one thing. He was afraid of the dark. I don't want to be a night bird, Plop told his mummy. Dark is nasty. You don't know that, she said. You'd better find out about the dark before you make up your mind. Look, there's a little boy down there. Go and ask him. So Plop, who was quite new at flying, took a deep breath, just like we've been doing, and flew down. Oh, cried the little boy as Plop landed with a somersault. Hello, said Plop. I've come to find out about the dark. Oh, said the boy. Dark is exciting, especially tonight. We're going to have fireworks. Does it have to be dark? Asked Plop. Of course, replied the boy. You can't see the fireworks unless it's dark. Look out for them later. Well, said Mrs. Barn Owl, when Plop arrived back at the nest. The little boy says dark is exciting, said Plop. I still do not like it, at all, but I will watch the fireworks if you will sit by me. We will sit by you, said his mummy and daddy. So that is what they did. When the very last firework had faded away, Mr. Barn Owl went hunting. All night he brought food back to Plop until daylight came and it was time for bed. Halfway through the morning, Plop woke up. Mrs. Barn Owl opened one bleary eye. Plop, dear, she said, why don't you find out some more about the dark? Go and ask that old lady in the deck chair. Plop landed by the lady with a thump. Hello, he said. I've come to ask you about the dark. I want to go hunting with Daddy, but he always goes hunting in the dark, and I'm afraid of it. How very odd. said the lady. Now, I love the dark. Dark is kind. I can forget that I am old, and I can sit and remember all the good times. I haven't much to remember yet, said Plop. I'm rather new, you see. Well, said his mummy, as Plop flew back up to the landing branch. The old lady says dark is kind, said Plop, but I still do not like it at all. That evening, when both his parents went hunting, Plop closed his eyes and tried to remember something to remember. Suddenly he heard a happy shout, and Plop forgot about being afraid of the dark. He peered through the leaves and saw a boy sitting by a fire. Plop flew down, landing with an enormous thud. Hello, said Plop. I've come to see what's going on. I'm guarding the campfire, said the boy. The others have gone to play games in the dark, lucky things. Do you like the dark? Asked Plop. It's super, the boy replied. Dark is fun. We're going to make cocoa and sing around the fire. Would you like to stay? So Plop stayed. The boys sang until the fire had sunk to a red glow. Then Plop said goodbye and flew home. Well, said his mummy, where have you been? I met a boy and he says dark is fun. I still do not like it at all, but I think campfires are super. The next day he woke up. It's getting up time, Daddy, he shouted. Mr. Barn Owl looked up at the sky. Not quite yet, Plop, he said. Wait till it's dark, because that's when the owls come out. That night, Plop watched his parents take off to go hunting again. Looking through the leaves, he saw a man standing on the ground below. Heavens, cried the man, you startled me. Hello, said Plop. What's that you've got there? A telescope, said the man, for looking at the stars and planets at night. I don't like the dark very much, said Plop. Really, said the man. But dark is wonderful. I'll show you. The man with the telescope showed Plop lots of stars and how they made patterns in the sky. He pointed out the bright pole star, the plough, the dog star, and Orion, the great hunter. Plop said thank you and flew back to his mummy and daddy. A man with a telescope showed me the stars. Plop told them, he says dark is wonderful. That morning, Plop had his supper in bed, and then, like a real night bird, he slept right through the day. When Plop woke, it was almost dark. Now who's a day bird? He shouted at the darkness. Plop looked at his sleepy parents. He wasn't going to hang about waiting for them. He might be missing something. Plop floated down and landed like a soft white feather. Under the tree, he saw a big black cat. Hello, said the cat. I was just going exploring. Won't you come with me? I would like to, I think, said Plop, but I'm afraid of the dark. But dark is beautiful, said the cat. Look around you. Plop looked. The moon had risen. Everything was bathed in its white light. Moonlight is magic, said the cat. Come with me and I will show you the nighttime world of cats and owls. Will you come? Yes, I will, said Plop. The cat took Plop up to the rooftops and they looked down over the sleeping town. This is my world, said Plop. I am a night bird after all. And this is only one sort of night, said the cat. There are lots of other kinds, all beautiful. Thank you for showing me, said Plop. I must go now and tell my mummy and daddy. Good night, said the cat, and many, many good nights. Plop flew straight back to his tree. Well, said his mummy. Plop took a deep breath. The small boy said dark is exciting. The lady said dark is kind. The campfire boy said dark is fun. The man with the telescope said dark is wonderful. And the cat said dark is beautiful. And what do you think, Plop? Asked his mummy. Plop looked up at his parents with twinkling eyes. I think, he said, I think dark is super. Then Plop took off to go hunting in the dark, Mr. and Mrs. Barn Owl on each side, and Plop in the middle. What a beautiful story. What a beautiful story about how the baby owl overcame something that made him feel quite frightened at first. And he realised that he could be brave. He could try and see the wonderful things about the nighttime and the darkness. And I love darkness in some ways because during Christmas and this time of year, the lights are so beautiful when the sun sets. It is darker during the day, during the winter, but we can find a magic light when we look through the dark. Have a lovely day, and we will see you next week for your other PSED sessions. Bye bye.